Hi, I'm Phil and I'm on a great gap year. And today I'm flying from Heathrow Terminal 5 to Frankfurt. The reason I've decided to take this flight is BA are flying some wide-body planes over European legs. Now I've booked economy, but I think I've managed to sneak forward into the premium economy area. So I'm rather hoping I'll get to sit in a slightly better seat. But as I checked in, I got a pleasant surprise. I'd been upgraded from Euro Traveller to Club Europe and I'd been assigned seat 2K. Now, not all BA aircraft have a first class cabin, but I had a suspicion that if this aircraft did have first class, then this is where I was going to be sitting. And so I boarded with bated breath.
Goodbye business class. Hello first class.
And I'd bought this flight as a reward flight, so I was sitting in the first class cabin for only £17.50 and 5,250 Avios. And at the end of the video, I'll tell you how I found about this flight, and although this particular offer isn't currently available, BA aren't flying any wide bodies in Europe at the moment, I will tell you how you could book similar wide body flights in Europe today. And as we climb into the clouds on our way to Frankfurt, I want to just give you a quick bonus tip on airport parking costs and how I'm reducing mine. Heathrow parking costs have become a joke at the moment, with prices rising ridiculously fast, and the amounts they wanted for my few days in Frankfurt was nearly £70. And that was for the cheapest long stay parking with a bus ride to the airport. So I turned to a website called Just Park to find better affordable parking options for this trip. And on this trip, I booked a space on the Asda car park in Hayes and Harlington. It's a 5 or 10 minute walk to the Elizabeth line station that can then take you into Heathrow. And it cost £22 for the same amount of time. Even taking into account the cost of the train to get you into the airport, it was a big saving on the airport parking cost. And on a very recent trip, I parked just outside of the new congestion charging zone, and then I took the 7:03 bus to Terminal 5, and that worked out beautifully. But back to the flight and my first time sitting in a first class seat. Since I'd never sat in first class before, I had nothing to directly compare it to, but I have seen flights reviewed on other YouTube channels, and once the initial buzz of being in first class had worn off, I was actually a little bit underwhelmed. I don't know what I expected, because it was just a 90-minute Club Europe flight, so there was never going to be a pillow or a blanket or a pre-boarding drink, amenity kit, headphones, all these kinds of things. But the lack of all this, it didn't match the grand cabin that I was sitting in. Now, it's obviously a significant upgrade to the usual economy style seat that you get in Club Europe, but it still felt a little bit underwhelming. But as for the seat, it was nice and comfortable. It was a little bit firm, perhaps. Perhaps it could have done with being a little wider, but I was able to mess about with the seat and adjust it. There was a little wheel and some other buttons, and I managed to get comfortable, and I could have, if I'd wanted to, made it lie flat. And there was this huge tray table that came out of the side and was quite awkward to move whilst holding my camera. And there was also this little footrest that could be used as a second seat with its own seatbelt. So you could use this if you wanted to, say, dine with a friend. And I really like the idea of buddy dining if I was flying with a pal. There were 2 USB sockets and a universal plug, so on a longer flight you could certainly get plenty of work done. It had 2 reading lights up above, and then it also had this nice little sort of adjustable lamp. Storage seemed to be in short supply though. I could only find this small cupboard in the back of the chair, and it didn't have a lot of room. I don't know if other reviewers have noticed this or if I'm just some doofus and I actually just need to fiddle with a thingamabob and I'd have found another storage area. I really don't know, but if you've flown in this first class seat, then leave me a comment. Did you just leave your bag on the floor or in the overhead locker? Or have I missed something here and actually there's another bit of storage I just couldn't find? There was an in-flight entertainment screen that seemed a little bit unresponsive, but there was no headphones because it's Club Europe. And in Club Europe, there's usually no in-flight entertainment, but fortunately, I always travel with my own Bose noise cancelling headphones. I carry a cable and an adapter, so I was able to watch TV. It was a short flight, and as soon as the seatbelt light went off, I was served with some champagne and some nuts, and then it was time for meal service. I chose a vegetarian option, as I often do, and although I didn't photograph the menu, this looks like it's a Mediterranean roast vegetable medley, and it was sort of on a yogurty sauce. From my comments while I'm eating this on the camera, it was yummy. And dessert was a panna cotta, I think, and that is one of my favourite desserts of all time, and you can tell that I really enjoyed that too. There was just enough time to enjoy a cup of BA tea, which is always excellent, before my tray was cleared and we started to prepare for landing.
I'll take a good cup of tea over champagne any day.
Now, I don't know what you think, but for a 90-minute flight, I do think that meal service was superb. Now, I did make a quick trip to the toilet, and it wasn't anything special. It was just an airline toilet, which was a bit disappointing when you think that, you know, some first class cabins, they have showers, others have spacious vanity suites, and this was just the, standard cramped airline loo. And as we came into land over Frankfurt, I had enjoyed my first trip sitting in first class, regardless of the short time that I'd had there. The BA cabin crew was spot on as usual, keeping me topped up with champagne, a nice light meal, and I got a chance to play with a new toy, my first class seat.
Thank you so much, that was a brilliant flight. Thanks so much. Thanks everyone, that was brilliant.
Well, that was a real treat. First class seat. Didn't really get a lot of time to mess about with that and really fully appreciate it and fully just enjoy it, but yeah, a taste hopefully of what's to come. So that was a brilliant flight to Frankfurt on a 777 in first class cabin in a 121 configuration. So thank you for joining me on my great gap year.
But as promised, here is how I found out about these flights, and it was from a little known blog called Simply Flying. I have no idea how they found out about them, but I subscribed to their newsletter and they reported on them at the end of January, and I was able to quickly book some flights for April. So that's how I found my flights, but could you do something similar? So BA don't as a rule fly widebody planes on intra-Europe flights, but Emirates, for example, does. They fly daily between Larnaca and Malta, and they have 3 different classes of cabin. So if you wanted to experience their business class seat, for example, for under £1,000, then you could have a little look into this route. Now, the most complete and up-to-date resource I've found on this is on the Head for Points website. So I'll leave a link to an article on there in the description. So again, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and since you've made it this far, perhaps you'd be kind enough to give me a like, and if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get notifications of new videos when they're released. So thank you for joining me on my Grey Gap Year.